Hello everybody, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report. My name is Jan-Jaap Abbink, reporting for JJA Sports Studio. And we're live here. We're going to do the predictions for two POEs. Normally I just do one. But they're so close to each other. They're in the same weekend for WWE. And it's a long time I've been live. I've been doing this for doing some podcasts, pro wrestling podcasts for live. Man, how long has it been? Almost a year ago or so. I can't even remember. I did some shorts on my YouTube channel for making predictions, like in WrestleMania and stuff. But anyway, welcome to the show. As I said, my name is Jan-Jaap Abbink, who is new here. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/JJ on demand of JJA Sports Studio, or you can watch on Twitch on twitch.tv/JJA Sports Studio, and you can watch us on X, x.com/JJA Sports Studio. We're all live currently. As I can see, yeah, that should be all working fine. So we're in 30 FPS. We actually shoot in 60, but that's a technical issue. I still have to, change. Sorry about that. We're in HD though. So anyway, if you have any questions, you can on YouTube come on live chat, of course, and I can answer your questions. So being that said, I hope you enjoyed the show. And are you all ready for the POEs? This weekend and Saturday, I'm not going to do a Great American Bash. I think there's so least interest for it at the moment. Sorry about that, but yeah. Anyway, and tomorrow we'll do the predictions for AEW All In. So if you also want to hear that, well, join us on live chat. Probably same time. Anyway, welcome to the show. Let's start with predictions. There's just been also tonight a match added. That's Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sikoa. My prediction actually for this match actually goes to Solo Sikoa, and that is because, think about this, he just won the title, right? And WWE is currently at a space that they don't want to hot potato the title, so they prefer some long title reign. So easy pickings. I think it's Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa is going to win. It'll probably be his new Bloodline faction is going to interfere or something, whatever. So he's going to retain, and then yeah. Anyway, next match: Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Actually, a great match on paper. I'm actually one of the matches I'm looking forward to see on Saturday night's main event. However, my pick is actually Drew McIntyre, and I will explain this a little bit. He just came back from a hiatus. He took some time off, freshen. Randy Orton is actually there, and it sounds a little bit weird, but he is there. I think he's not full time. He takes, if you notice, he takes some time off. I think he's there also to help people put over. Now, Drew McIntyre actually doesn't need it, but it sounds a little bit weird that Drew McIntyre, if he comes back, directly loses. I don't see it. I don't see actually also Randy Orton at this stage need to win this match. There's a little bit, yeah. That, you have sometimes a feeling of this. Next match, LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. Also a nice match on paper, right? But Seth Rollins, it's funny though. I want to take you a little bit. I take Seth Rollins, and I can be easily wrong on this. And I'll explain you this why. It used to always to be the Money in the Bank winner matches. Before they cash in, they start on the losing streak. Go check it out. It's really weird. In the past, yeah, Seth Rollins done it before. I can remember on WrestleMania when he cashed it actually in. I don't know if you remember that with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns that became triple match. He won that match, but earlier that night he had a match against Randy Orton and he lost. And before also that he lost. It's actually a funny way of streak how they sometimes book these money on the bank money in the bank ladder. The win of the money bank ladder matches. They, for some reason, I don't know why they do it, because it looks like actually it makes him look weak. But it can also be that it looks like, okay, he's going to lose a lot of matches, right? And um, so he doesn't look strong. So then the more the surprise that he wins is he looks strong. But it's like a surprise, right? The problem I have with it looks like if you do it in that way, that you don't build up a strong future champion. And that's my complaint with at the booking. Now, that was actually in the time of Vince. So now Triple H is coming. I don't know, actually looked in the statistics for this. But it shows more or the less that, yeah, that I don't look actually, but I have a feeling this will change. I think Triple H wants to, build his stars really up and strong in that matter. So yeah. All right. So my prediction is actually Seth Rollins, but I can be wrong on due to what I just told you with the Money in the Bank ladder matches. At the moment I have a lot of heels winning, and then the main event. Talked a lot about this match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther versus Goldberg. And the problem is with Goldberg. I have a huge problem with Goldberg. And that is because how he's booked every time he came back. And I think he's sometimes politicking this way to the top, to the victories. I really don't know, but in that way to say that that he's going. Yeah, I don't see him winning this match. He's from actually an old time, but I don't see him like an old school hardcore, old school wrestler. Because old school wrestler, if he retires, right, and this is his retirement match, then you go out on its back. But for some reason, I do see Gunther winning this match. But for some reason, it doesn't sit me right with this prediction. And I'm scared that Goldberg has politics his way again to win that match. And my question is, what if you do this? Because you cause a lot of problems. Because no, actually not. Because what do you do then with the world title? Are you going to make a tournament with the finals on SummerSlam? Because Cody Rhodes will face John Cena. So that title's actually free. There's also not inside actually who's going to face Gunther at SummerSlam. That's not really teased much. That already says me something. There's going to happen something. And I'm so worried that Gunther is going to lose tomorrow. And I'm not particularly happy on that. Because I have nothing against Goldberg. But I think, there's a time and place. If there is one who could actually defeat Goldberg, it is Gunther. He's a very dominant wrestler, but he is a very good in-ring athlete. I'm not going against that. I think he has some great dominant runs. My question though is that what have they done here? Because they took suddenly the world title of Jey Uso very quickly. Was not very particular, received. I could also see the internet. Some did, but mostly of the majority didn't. And I didn't get it either that they took suddenly the title of Jey Uso for that moment. The guy is over. The guy is extremely over, right? So they put it back on Gunther. Later on, it seemed for a long time period plan that could go back to Gunther. So they were not happy probably with Jey Uso for some reason. But if you see the crowd right, my God, that guy is over. But I keep my prediction on Gunther, but it doesn't sit me right. For some reason, it kneers me, right? So what if, now let's talk about what if Goldberg should win the world title tomorrow, on Saturday. They could do a tournament, small tournament, but there's so many tournaments lately going on. But they must do something. I mean, they did nicely with the King of the Ring winners. They got from their brand the champion to face, what I think is a great idea. But here on the secondary titles, from the world heavyweight champion or the women's world championship, they don't have actually planned matches. So are they going to be qualifying matches? Are they going to do something special that they deserve a title shot at SummerSlam? Could be. I mean, could be nice. I mean, you could do some sort of, SummerSlam is 2 nights, right? You could actually do some sort of tournaments and then quarterfinals and the semifinals on night 1. Both for the women and for the men to fill up their card, and then the finals for the championships, and then if Goldberg wins that you could do the vacated championship on the finals on SummerSlam on the second night. You have 2 nights. You have to fill somehow these matches. But it's just if they do that, if they're going to take the title now of Goldberg or Gunther, put on Goldberg, that is the only solution I say. And then you have the final on night 2 for SummerSlam for the vacated title. But my prediction still stands with Gunther. I mean, that's totally safe on that. All right. Being that said, let's go to Evolution. Let's start off with the NXT Women's Championship. Jacy Jayne versus Jordynne Grace. My prediction is Jordynne Grace. I mean, she came very hot on the stove to WWE. I was actually thinking she would go to the main roster directly, but they didn't do. So it wouldn't make sense if they put the title on her. Right? I don't think Jacy Jayne is a very strong champion. I mean, the girl's great, but she's not particularly has something that shows me something from dominance. Something, no. Then we have Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now I'm coming back here with the same situation as I explained with Seth Rollins. Here we have Naomi who won the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, as I explained to you, they always, in the past, as statistics shows, they go on a losing streak. Jade Cargill is #1 contender for the title against Tiffany. So you have to build up Jade Cargill very strong. Now I'm not a particular great fan of Jade Cargill because I think she's very limited in her moveset. Nothing that, but I think the girl wants more to show off. But wrestling-wise, technique. But my prediction stays on Jade Cargill because they have to build her up. Otherwise, it doesn't show that Tiffany has a strong contender. What you can do in this match that Naomi loses, gets so pissed off, she will cash in on the match of the winner against Tiffany versus Jade Cargill. That you always can do. It's going to happen? I don't know. I really don't know, yeah. Alright, then the Battle Royale for the women's title match in France. I didn't write all the name particular who is along in the Battle Royale. That's way too many. But I looked a little bit through the list. My pick for the match is Stephanie Walker, and I will explain you this why. If you look, Roxanne Perez got promoted to the main roster. Julia got promoted to the main roster. Both got already titles, right? Okay. Roxanne didn't actually win the title. She was given the title because of the injury from Liv Morgan. But being that said, Julia won the Women's United States Championship, so she has already a title. Only, and Stephanie is so over. She is also a great wrestler. So why not make her #1 contender? I don't know if she's going to win it in France. To push directly to the main title for the women is a little bit far-fetched, but it makes sense. I don't see, for example, a Nikki Bella win it. That doesn't make sense. She just come back for only for Evolution after, and then she go back after that, and whatever she does, cooking and cleaning. no. If I watch some women, then I get really no. That's a joke. Well, you know what I'm saying, right? It makes also more sense that you put on a full-time wrestler who's on the main show, because an NXT championship on an international show, that would not make sense. Okay, then Roxanne and Raquel Rodriguez versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Kabuki Warriors versus Soruka and Zarya. They just switched the titles over from Liv Morgan to Roxanne, right? And well, Raquel Rodriguez was already champion. Mostly these matches, these matches, have a statistic that the champion will stay champion. It's very an odd statistic, but check it out. It's really true. So my pick is for Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. It also makes the most sense, because now I'm not going to say they're going to keep 14 weeks still them as champion. It would make sense, because then you can build up their feud over it. That that Roxanne is somehow more successful as champion than Liv in that way with the title, even though it's cursed like the crappers. I mean, how many champions, how many wrestlers been injured during holding that title? You don't know. That's also a very high statistic number. Little scary, like it's the title if it's cursed or what. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. That's a babyface and a heel. That's not going to work. It's a build up towards some sort of a feud between those two. I'm pretty sure of it. Kabuki Warriors. That's the only reasonable choice, maybe, if they want to put the title off her. Kairi Sane, Kairi, and Asuka. Asuka got a great pop, by the way, when she returned. Some way deserve it, but I don't know if they're going to tag together again. I don't know how long they're going to be together. I mean, Kai does it great also lately on a single wrestler. So it's a little, I don't know. Soruka and Zarya, great wrestlers, but they're still on NXT, and I think WWE wants to have them on the main roster. That's my point. Of course, as if they would be champions, they could move around on the main roster, but I don't think those two are yet ready for a main roster push. That's my whole problem. So therefore, I choose Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. It's the most logical choice. Then the women's the WWE Women's Title match. Tiffany, that's easy picking. Trish Stratus, it wouldn't make sense to put the title on her. She just comes back only for the Evolution, and then she's going back to do what is she doing? Gymnastics or something, or whatever. I mean, I have respect for Trish. I mean, she looks great on her age. Not, that she still can hold up with this level. Not many women can, and her age. Trust me, they can't. Sorry, that's just a biological fact. So it's easy picking Stephanie Stratton, and it can give her a good rub. I believe that. I mean, Tiffany, She's the champion now, but I think she still needs a good growth spurt. That's for sure. So it makes logic sense that Tiffany remains champion. Though she has it for her some time now. Yeah. And that's why I think also that Jade Cargill will win it on SummerSlam, and then Naomi cashes in and take the title again from Jade. That's why. But I don't think here in Evolution it would not make much sense. Let's be real here, peeps. Then the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. Lyra, I think she's a phenomenal wrestler, but somehow it won't click with her with the audience. WWE has tried to put the Women's Intercontinental Championship on her, but for some reason it didn't work. Becky just won it, right? Now the question is what they're going to do with Bayley. Is Bayley going to turn heel? Because she is a little bit on the heelish vibe sometimes. If I watch her matches, she doesn't come always off as a baby face. And you know, as a heel, she did so phenomenal. Go back on the COVID area. She was so dominant as a heel. She was so good. She pulled actually the whole women's division at that matter at the time together with Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, must say. I sometimes have a feeling that Bayley does it even better as a heel than a babyface. Even it was funny when she became heel. I thought this girl never is going to be heel because she's like the John Cena of the women division. But she impressed me so much as a heel. And now that she returned as babyface, for some reason, she doesn't come up to the level of being a heel. That's my whole problem. So I don't, it's even though it's a mid-card title, what I think is strange to put it on Becky because she's a main event woman. Like it or not, but she belongs in the main event, right? Let's call spade a spade. So it makes sense just to keep a little bit tighter because then you can also, have the title having a little bit more meaning to it. If one can, Becky can. Trust me. Even if you don't like her. I mean, she is great as a heel. She is. So my prediction is going out to Becky Lynch. Then the Women's World Championship. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. Now, if I remember correctly, Io didn't defend the title since WrestleMania, peeps. And this is what I'm saying. There's so many titles to defend. I see a lot of comments online. They say, yeah, Night of Champions, yeah, but should all be champions defended. Yeah, that's all nice. But problem is with WWE, except this pay-per-view Evolution, it has 7 matches. Normally, WWE does only 5 matches, except for the big 4. I don't know if they won't go off actually off of this because if I'm looking at it, I mean, Saturday Night's main event has only 4. Maybe they will add one more. I don't know. Before tonight, even only 3. And Evolution has 7, but that's because maybe a lot of women are on contract these days, and especially on the NXT. And there's some really great talent. I must admit. There's some great women wrestlers talents on its way to the main roster. I'm not going to say they all, because with Jacy Jayne, as I said, she's been there so long time, and even though she's great, but for sometimes it's so lacking on her. There's something not clicking with her, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's just personal feeling, but. Nothing personal against her, but for some reason it doesn't click with me. Io. I like Io a lot. she's a great wrestler, and I think for some degrees he's over. But I noticed a lot on the commentary. They played a lot in on the last few weeks that Rhea never defeated Io, and if they're talking about all the time, right? They're putting it out there, then there's something going to happen. So I'm going to do my prediction on that Rhea Ripley is actually going to win the world title, the women's world title. Um, so yeah, these are actually my predictions. I'm actually now curious if you watch this video on demand, because you actually can join on chat, but you're more than welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/JJ LiveTube, leave it in the comments your prediction. I'm actually curious. If you're watching it over on a social media account, you see this video because they also shared over Facebook. Leave your predictions actually in the comments. I'm actually interested to hear from you what your predictions are for these events. Let me know. And why do you actually pick these winners? That could also be funny, why? And that's it, yeah, because I like her. I mean, wrestling is not a popularity contest. It's just over if you're over or not. I always say also titles titles are props, but I will go on that once in a normal regular episode of this podcast. Being that said, yeah, these are my predictions. So if you let me know what your predictions are in the comments or now in chat if it's possible. And otherwise, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment this video. And that's on youtube.com/JJA LiveTube. Or on Twitch, on twitch.tv/JJ Sports Studio, and on x.com/JJ Sports Studio. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do the predictions for AEW All In, and then we'll take it from there. Have a lovely Thursday evening. And if you're watching wrestling tonight, there is TNA Impact and there's AEW Collision. Take care. Have a lovely evening, peeps. Bye for now.